welcome back to another episode of NFT Artist Spotlight, hosted by AstroZero. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks.
Today on our spaces, we have a visual artist, DJ, and founder of Octopus Recordings, Sian. So welcome to our spaces. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe how you got into music and what got you into NFTs?
Yeah, for sure. So, I was born in Ireland. I grew up in Spain, as I mentioned. I started on a path studying marine biology, weirdly, and got signed to a record label in Paris in the first year. Left college and started DJing really quite young, actually. And around that time, I also started working, helping out in a recording studio in Dublin. So I was going in there doing the like worst jobs possible, fixing cables, cleaning up, and that kind of shit. Then staying in there at nighttime and making records. So that's how I got started using their gear. Eventually, from DJ gigs, I started buying my own stuff for a studio, and like fast forward 2 years, I started touring around Europe mainly. Then I started touring in the States and then Asia. I've been pretty much around the world like a bunch of times. So then, yeah, LA is home now. So I moved.
How long ago did you play?
Sorry?
How long ago did you move to Los Angeles?
7 years ago now.
Did you move there to pursue a musical career, or is it just kind of a place that you wanted to head off to and check out how the West Coast is?
Yeah, I'd been playing here a lot. I started to do more gigs in the States. And obviously playing in LA, I absolutely loved this place since I was a kid. So I just decided to get over here permanently.
Did you play any instruments growing up, or did you kind of just like jump right into DJing and electronic music?
It was mostly synthesizers, but yeah, I mess around on guitar, bass, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, synthesizers and computers were the thing that really hooked me in. So, making music digitally, obviously, was the real catch there. Um, I think I started messing around with synthesizers when I was about 17. Um, and then eventually went all in with Ableton, which is a music production software DAW. So yeah, now I'm all in the box, literally just a laptop with all my software inside it instead of a big studio full of machines.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier when you're using Ableton and you have all your VSTs all built in rather than carrying around rigs. And I also make music, so
Right.
And I play synthesizer, so I kind of know what you're going through using Ableton Push.
Yeah, for a bit actually, but it's just so nice to have Ableton all in the box, even without the push, so I can just work on on a plane or in a hotel room or something, just literally my laptop and headphones.
So there's so many different types of like subgenres in electronic music now. What would the closest one be that you would call the type of music that you create?
It's kind of unusual because I came from techno, which is, playing pretty industrial and minimal music in a kind of late night environment, and kind of grew into pop music, I guess, in a weird way. Like, I am kind of considered a techno artist, but I've recently done some remixes that are more on the pop end of things. I mean, it's a stupid word, but I just released something on Dead Mouse's label. Again, I've released a bunch of records with them. And also did a remix for Armin van Buuren's label, which is again really unusual for an artist to come from the underground and start doing that kind of stuff. But that was just a natural transition for me to start working with vocals.
So how does it like? Do you go through like a management company in order to get connected with guys like Dead Mouse and Armin van Buuren, or like have you just met these guys personally, like doing club gigs and stuff together? How do you go about
They
like the?
actually, Dead Mouse's old management company signed me to their roster, and my manager, who was working with their field and co-managing deadmau5's other project. They signed me, and it just made sense to put the two things together because they were interested in taking Mousetrap, which is deadmau5's label, into a more underground feel, and they really liked what I was doing. They offered me some really great opportunities. I actually went on tour with deadmau5 for a bunch of shows. I remixed him twice, and then continued to release on his label.
How long ago did you start getting into NFTs?
I've been messing around with these ideas for a while. I guess a year, maybe. I started to kind of seriously consider this because I mean it's been a really strange place for NFTs in music because you've got musicians who are really paving the way like deadmau5 and Blau, people like that who have been doing this for years, like 3 or 4 years, and they've kind of pushed their own niche to the point where more and more artists are starting to understand it because that's the real problem. I think when you say to an artist, okay, let's collab on an NFT, they have no idea what you're talking about. They think an NFT is like a JPEG. So this year obviously is going to change all that with all of the news and announcements that has come in with companies like XYZ, Royal, Audius, and Moda DAO. There's going to be a lot of announcements, like literally in the next few weeks. A ton of stuff is coming out. I'm not too familiar with many other artists, especially from my genre, that are messing around with NFTs. But one of the things that we've always come from a visual standpoint for the label, it's always been a really heavy focus on the visual side of our art. So that just felt like a no-brainer to start to actually focus on that a bit more.
Yeah, the musical aspect really hasn't been tapped into too much in the NFT space. I mean, there are some bigger names that are getting into it, like in I guess the pop rock. There was Kings of Leon. There's guys in hip hop that are doing it. I know like Steve Aoki, he was getting involved in it somewhat, but it really hasn't got mass adopted. And you know, I'm not sure if it has something to do with legal and people being bound to record labels. Can you talk about that? Like, do you have any issues with any of the labels that you might be involved with, saying that you can't release certain things because you're bound to a contract or something with them, or you don't have any of these problems?
Yeah, I think it's actually two things as I see it. That is definitely a factor. Some artists are signed to labels. They don't own their own masters, so they can't go and, release new music on a NFT platform for music because that stuff's all being figured out at the moment. It's so new that people don't know where to put the rights system. And then I think secondly, a lot of artists who try to cash in early, they just created an NFT that wasn't really related to their music, and they tried to put it out there. I mean, there's a bunch in hip hop and rock who did this, and it doesn't really feel relevant to them. It just feels like a cash in because the music isn't connected to that NFT, which is something that we wanted to change because the NFTs I'm working on, the first batch, we haven't even dropped them yet. We just have them up on Rarible as a test. Those are basically giving away. So the idea there is that we want our fans to kind of build a community and flip them if they want to, or hold them and give them the opportunity to kind of earn and grow with us instead of just trying to drop an NFT and charge a lot of money for it straight away. I'm absolutely fine to basically let these go for tiny bids so that people own that and can flip it and develop an ecosystem around it.
Are you doing the artwork for the ones that you have up on Rarible,
Yeah,
or do you have
I've
someone
actually
doing it for
always,
you?
yeah, all of those are me. I've made the artwork for the record label since I started it. And I make my own artworks for any other releases I do on labels. So yeah, I've always been pushing that. I do video and photography stuff as well. So it's kind of easy for us to focus on that side of it.
Was one of the main reasons that you got into NFTs because the world shut down because of COVID? So was it kind of a lack of, club venues and everything that you could get involved in, and you wanted to find some other sort of maybe supplementary income or just something to do in the meantime while the world starts opening back up?
Yeah, for sure. That's a really good point, actually. I think a lot of artists were forced to kind of think and rethink the model of the music business. And I guess everyone knows that streaming and the music business overall has become so undervalued. It's this kind of old empire system. You know, if you look at 75% of Spotify's earnings doesn't go anywhere near the artists. And there's, I mean, just endless headline after headline about undervaluation of music. So I think a lot of people are thinking, okay, we need to focus on a smaller niche, not try to have like billions of streams every month, but instead focus our music towards a smaller group of kind of hardcore fans.
Can you tell me a little bit about Octopus Recordings that you started up? What made you decide to do something like this?
Yeah, it's honestly the the driving feeling was the music that I wanted to put out wasn't being represented, and that's a founding principle of starting the label. That we were making stuff which I felt needed to come out and just didn't fit on any of the other labels out there, even the ones that I was signed to. So it kind of came out of a mix of frustration and also ambition to just do something new in underground music. And yeah, it worked out really nicely. We broke a lot of artists constantly in the top 10 in the dance charts. Um, Started the career of a ton of people, and this kind of led us into this idea that we need to take those artists further in a way, especially, you know, with my own career. There's a lot more that we can do where music meets visual stuff, and that's kind of the next chapter of what we're working on.
So going into the visual like representation of what your music is all about, have you considered implementing your music into the metaverse and maybe doing virtual concerts or something along those lines? Have you even talked to anybody about something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that we're going to work on for sure. Um, Before, I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but Minecraft was trying to put together a big festival for electronic music. We were going to be part of that before it kind of imploded. Um, so yeah, we were basically going to build a black octagon inside of Minecraft and have all of our artists play a free concert in there. So that's definitely something that I want to develop, and at the moment we're figuring out new ways to do that.
What do you think musical artists need to do in order to bring awareness to this space? Do you think we just need some big name person like Jay Z to put out an NFT, or do you think maybe along the lines of having maybe a record label go full force into it, or just a combination of things? What do you think is the best way we could get some awareness into it? Because I personally want to start minting my own music,
Mm.
but I don't really know how to go about it, to be quite honest with you, where I could actually attract people.
Yeah, I feel like that's really it, is putting your neck on the line, especially people with a bigger profile. I mean, if you look at two good examples I mentioned earlier, Blau and Deadmau5, they both really stuck their out on the line and said, right, I'm doing this, and everyone's gonna give me all that shit. You know, the right clickers, all those idiots are gonna think that you're trying to cash in, but they just keep doing it, and it comes from a place of originality. Like they're both involved in really interesting tech. So it obviously feels natural to them, and it's not like somebody just diving in for a cash grab. They actually develop project. I think that's really what it takes, is people to take that chance and to push it from there and with their fan base that exists.
Your NFTs, you put them on the Ethereum blockchain, right?
So the ones that we're testing out on Rarible, basically we haven't launched these. I just put them up because I wanted to show people that, you know, I've been working hard on this. There's yeah, the Ethereum network for Rarible, and then on OpenSea I have a bunch of others that are in Polygon.
What made you decide to do one on the one chain and one on the other? And do you think there's specific benefits of one versus the other?
Yeah, for me,
Gonna go.
it's just gas, really. I mean, it's something that I ran into frustrations. Um, just the gas being so high lately, I felt I wanted to try and put more of the new collection onto Polygon, just to give people an opportunity to get them really cheap, and to also show that, you know, we're trying to build something around these where we're not just, aiming at doing a drop, scoop the money and split. We actually want to develop it long term.
What's what's the favorite venue that you've ever played at?
Oh yeah, God, so many. One really great one was Aki Poppy in South Africa, because I'd always wanted to go to South Africa. I got to play out basically in the outback. Another great venue is Contact in Tokyo. That was high up on my list. I would say the EDCs were always fun. Other great, Governor's Island in New York was amazing. Yeah, for me, it's like the kind of weird locations with the amazing views are always my favorite.
You were doing some like live sets on Twitch for a while, right?
Yeah, we were a Twitch partner for, God, almost a year. Um, a little bit under actually, but yeah, we were doing 7 days of programming on Twitch actually, which was insane. It was pretty hard to sustain that.
Kind of like what I'm doing on Twitter Spaces, like every day. Just
It's a lot, right?
doing it. Yeah, it's a lot of preparation and stuff. I mean, when you're doing something that frequently, do you feel like you have pressure on you that you can't use any of the same songs for the sets, and you have to constantly just keep changing the rotation over and over again?
Yeah, so one of the things that I did when I made a deal with Twitch was we brought in a ton of new talent. So we said, okay, we could easily get DJ sets from all of our like, well-known DJ friends. But what was more interesting to me was to build a roster of upcoming artists and kind of showcase them on a prime time slot. So Twitch really liked that, because they're all about, like, they don't care if you have 1 million followers or 10 followers. It's how engaged those 10 followers are, right? So it was really interesting to see how excited people were about that, because you've got all these new faces who are doing really cool things, and it gave us an opportunity to like do 7 days and have enough people to fill that in, instead of having some big artist who's committed to a lot of other stuff.
You're doing a new project now, right? It's called Third Culture.
Yep, me and Sasha Rabati, people probably know him from Dirty Bird. He's been DJing over in the States for years. He's like a big Dirty Bird artist.
So, what got you guys together, and what function does each one of you perform in this collaboration? You both just what's each one of you doing really when it comes down to it instrumentally?
Yeah, so we met at a gig and instantly started laughing about European nonsense, because we both feel like foreigners in the States. So we kind of clicked, and as far as collabing goes, it's weird. Like, I'll always come up with the sparks and the original couple of small sounds, then I'll try to develop it with him into, a broader structure. But he's really good at arranging and mix downs, which I suck at. So yeah, I'll get together original sounds and ideas, kind of put them into a structure, develop it into a bigger theme, and then he'll go nuts on the arrangement.
What's like one of the go-to albums that you have if you're going to be driving in the car that you could listen to straight through?
I listen to a lot of really chill music actually. Like, most recently, I've been listening to Ruby Haunt, Cemeteries, stuff like that. Orchid Mantis. Yes, it's kind of like post rock, like very chill, vocal based. guitar stuff. But I mean, I listen to everything from jazz to film score stuff, and yeah, a lot of electronic. Obviously, anything that's kind of melodic and electronic will always get in there.
Now, I see you have a lot of listeners on SoundCloud and Spotify. Now,
Mm.
is really like a feasible way for an artist to make money without a ton of followers, or would it be easier for somebody that's getting into music possibly just to go the NFT route?
I just had this conversation today, actually. I think honestly, if I was starting now, I would focus entirely on NFT because Spotify, as everyone knows, pays so little to artists and labels, for multiple reasons. But if you're going to solely rely on streaming and shows, you've got to release very commercial music, obviously. And even then, I mean, just to break it down, 1 million streams on Spotify pays about $3,000 under, actually. So getting 1 million streams per year is quite a task, I would say focus entirely on NFT because if you find, for example, if you have 100 hardcore fans that throw in $10 for for part ownership in your track, if they want to earn royalties with you, or if a larger person wants to come in and just buy the track outright and then, create a marketplace for himself around that, you're going to make a decent living, which you're entitled to for your art.
Yeah. Have you thought about putting any sort of additional utility into your NFTs? Have you had any thoughts of whatever it might be, other than just the actual picture and the music? Anything else that you
I
want to
feel,
toss in like?
yeah, I mean, I've discussed this a lot, and I feel that there's certain types of NFTs that are very like community and token driven, right? So, like, your PFP stuff and things like that. But I feel if you're going to work, for months on a piece of music and a visual that stands on its own as a piece of art, I think that should suffice and it should be good enough to get people excited. I don't think every single NFT project needs all of the utility and token stuff that is imagined. I think that's more so if you're trying to build a community in a clubhouse and all of that, those features.
Yeah, I don't even personally think you need anything more than the art itself. If you
Yeah,
have cool art, or you have the community is really the most important thing when it comes down to it anyway, right?
exactly.
You're really selling art when it's all said and done. You're selling yourself. You're not really selling the artwork. Even if your artwork's badass, the whole point is coming out there and building your community and selling what you have there.
Yeah.
Um, do you think we're ever going to have uh, just metaverse concert venues where they're going to charge NFT price to get into the metaverse concert, and then they're going to split the revenue with the artist?
Definitely. Yeah, it's already in the works, 100%. And it's going to give a platform to a lot of new talent. It's not just going to be the big guys who are going to come in and crush it with, a Fortnite gig or, something huge in the sandbox. I feel like it's going to be festivals that'll give the artists who are already ahead in the NFT and digital world, it's going to give them opportunities over, someone who might not be able to put something together for that.
You would think eventually we're going to be able to hold larger metaverse concerts than the largest festivals that they have out there, as long as we can support the bandwidth.
Yeah, exactly. And if you think of it financially, just from a promoter standpoint, if you're aiming at a global audience, you're not just aiming at a city. Say I do a show in LA, it's 1,000 people. If I was to join a show online, it could be like 10 million people. So there's a huge revenue difference there that they'll be able to support new artists and take chances on people, um, and get, new talent paid properly, I believe.
And just the value for the people that want to see the specific artist. Like
Exactly.
Greg down there, he lives in Ohio, in Idaho. Like, there's not really a ton of large acts that flow through his area, so he could actually sit at his house and watch whatever metaverse concert that he wants,
Exactly.
which I think is it gives a lot of people opportunity to see people that they would have never had the opportunity to, or would have had to maybe fly to a venue in order to see them.
Yeah, way better for fans, way better for artists, especially new artists. Definitely.
So what about NFT record labels? Do you think this is going to exist?
I'm working on one at the moment, actually. Yeah,
Hmm.
definitely, definitely. And I think,
What?
yeah, it's going to become
What?
more and more of a thing. You know, when people understand that it's not, either or, that something can exist in both lanes as long as you own your own masters.
How would it be mutually beneficial? Because a lot of people are getting into NFT music specifically to get away from like record labels and these platforms. So how would it actually benefit a record label in order to be set up in the NFT space?
So I think it comes back to that concept that, to get started, you only really need 100 loyal fans, right? So if those fans are willing to put in $10 even to invest in you, then you're already rolling. You don't need 100,000 plays a year on Spotify or something. You just have this structure where your fan base starts a small tribe and that can grow, exponentially from there. But I feel that's a real plus for a record label because you can say, okay, say we have 1,000 hardcore fans and we do one drop and they put in $10. That's already a huge investment in the label.
That is true. And how would the split go with the artist
I think
though?
it would have
Would
to
it be
be more the mentality of Web3. It would have to be 50-50 instead of the typical setup with a record label where there'll be all these deductions and rights management issues. I think it would have to be straight 50-50.
do you also collect NFTs?
I'm starting to, yeah. I haven't really found anything that I'm mind blown by, but yeah. And by the way, that just talking strictly from a financial point of view as a benefit for a record label, obviously there's a million other benefits, like artistically, to doing that.
What's the biggest difficulty that you faced setting up an NFT project?
I feel it's converting your fans because a lot of electronic music fans you would think are into NFT stuff, but they seem to still be, the average festival goer is still uneducated. And, you've got armies of, as I call them, right clickers who think, that artists are just trying to, rug pull them or something. But it's, yeah, resistance. And I would say then also tech wise, like for example, I've had some bids on, we haven't even launched this NFT collection. I've had a couple of bids that I'm waiting on the gas to go down and kind of figuring out, okay, at what point do you accept a bid? Or, I want to make them really affordable for people. So I don't want to let bidding go up too high initially. And then it's like, okay, I have to pay the gas on all those. So yeah, that like tech wise, that's an issue. But then, I mean, creatively, I think most artists will be really, really capable of the artistic side.
Now, I was talking to a hip hop artist the other day. I noticed that you don't do it the way he did. He would post his NFT artwork, whatever it might be, a reflection of what the song might mean, or just the album cover work, and then he would have his song, but he would stream the entire song as opposed to a section of the song. Now, do you think that's a good idea or a bad idea?
I think it depends on what the track is. I mean, I know that Royal is going to be doing whole tracks. Blau is already doing that. I know Deadmau5 is going to be doing some stuff like that soon, where the entire track is the NFT. He's doing more and more of those. But I think if it's like the ones that I worked on, it's more kind of like soundtrack vibe and instrumental. So it feels like a piece of like cinema score with the visual. So it's kind of exists as a piece together. But if someone is creating an entire track, then I feel like that should be the NFT. And I believe Royal is going to solve that problem. Royal.io.
One of your NFTs on Rarible, you have a signed skateboard.
Oh yeah.
Now, the person who purchases that, they get the physical skateboard deck along with the NFT. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you think that's something important that people should start doing? Maybe giving physical pieces along with the digital asset.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting way to do collectibles because that was kind of a unique one. That was a collab with a really famous skateboarder called Jaws Monkey. Just check him out. He's he's in the new Jackass movie. He's been on the cover of Thrasher a bunch of times. He's like a real legend in the skateboard world, and obviously it made sense for him, and I to work on something that is actually tangible and people could technically take that off their wall and skate it. So that was kind of a special one, but I feel like eventually I would like to do more physical stuff for sure. I know another artist has made this really cool sculpture of the waveform of one of his tracks. There's a couple of things like that coming that are interesting.
That's very cool.
Mm.
That's the first experience, something like that. So how's he going about doing that?
So it'll be a one of one. The purchaser in the unlockable would get the information on how to receive the physical, and then you get a bunch of extras with it. I mean, yeah, for sure. One of the things I want to do, not just having my own NFTs is affordable, but I'll also throw a bunch of unlockable stuff in there. Like we have a bunch of merchandise and whatever from the label. So I will definitely be adding a lot of that in and just giving people, just rewarding the people that are early and appreciate first editions and things.
Officially, you have a question?
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say Happy New Year, everybody, and blessings. We're going strong this year, all of us.
Happy New Year.
What's up, Chronic? I see you, brother. I love you.
So, what was the question? I was just going to ask you. I just had a brain fart.
No worries.
Hold on, I'll give you a second. Threw me off with the Happy New Year over there.
No worries.
Oh, I remember now. Do you think a good type of utility or a good way to maybe market an NFT as a musician would be to release the stems along with the actual physical track?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people doing that actually. Breaking the track into different stems, which is, for people who don't make music, will be different parts of the instruments. People can put those together and remix it. It's not that interesting to me, to be honest, because I like to create something, as a whole piece, a finished piece, and sit with it for a while and then drop it and say, okay, that's done. But yeah, I mean, I've yet to explore that.
During the pandemic, I met up with a guy through Facebook through some like synthesizer group, and he lives in El Salvador. And I would do like a drum pattern on one of my drum machines, and then he would go and he would lay down like a lead on his synthesizer, and we would send it back and forth. We did this for months, and then we were just creating tracks. Um, what I'm trying to get at is, do you think that there is some sort of market in NFT music where you could maybe just sell stems, and maybe more so for like record producers?
Yeah, possibly. The only thing is, you'd be competing with companies like Splice or, Native Instruments who provide a lot of loops and samples, like literally millions of them for like, $10 a month. So I don't know where the real value is for music producers there.
Yeah, I'm not sure myself. And you're right with Native Instruments. I didn't even think of that. I have a machine of three at my house, and didn't even click in my head about how much shit that they give you.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody has any questions for Sian, please feel free to shout it out. Or we only have about 10 more minutes before we have to wrap it up. So
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
I'm sure Aiden has something.
Can you guys still hear me okay? Yeah.
Yep, I hear you fine.
Cool.
Aiden, do you have anything? You just throwing hundreds? That's it?
Yep, another 100. No worries. Yeah, maybe if you can, I don't know if you can pin the link to the top, but just so people know what I'm talking about. With the wearable stuff, we've launched the Jaws one, but I haven't launched the others. I just have them up as an initial, like, kind of pre-launch thing. The idea with all of those is to, basically keep them really, really low cost and just let people get into it. Did I lose you guys there?
No, I'm here. I'm trying to pin it. Usually the co-hosts do this
Yeah,
stuff, but
no worries.
fucking,
Yeah, they might have a bad connection.
All right, fucking Jesus Christ! I got rugged hard. That was
No
one of the
worries.
weirder rugs I've ever had.
right, Aiden,
Are you open to any kind of like? So, I feel like in this space, most projects, this is just my opinion, but most projects tend to do well with some kind of collaborative side to it, where if they can partner with other communities for co-marketing or just conglomeration and other aspects. Do you have any plans for co-marketing or anything like that, or can I interest you in it once you get your NFT project off the road? Because I'm working with a lot of electronic music artists, rap artists, rock artists, and I just want to get everybody all together. And so I'm just trying to put all the feelers out there.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I love about this whole space is how open, I mean, it's kind of a cliche, but everyone is figuring it out and is open to it. But yeah, I'd love to discuss it. I mean, any ideas, shoot them my way for sure. I'll do likewise.
Sounds good. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll DM you or we'll figure it out.
Yeah, do it. Definitely.
yeah, Demon, go ahead.
Hey, so really love everything we've discussed, and I love the you're bridging music and visual arts as well. Really
Thanks.
curious, for artists that are getting into the space and learning and trying to grow their skill sets. I love the visual art that you're doing, and really curious, if maybe you have any suggestions on programs and different mediums that newer artists could get into to kind of achieve a similar um, effect. I just love the style that you're doing, and I'm curious um, what programs and different mediums you're using.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would advise anyone to do a crash course in things like um, Premiere, Cinema 4D, After Effects. I know Unreal Engine are coming out with some amazing stuff. If you're into character design, there's going to be a ton of new things coming out there. But yeah, honestly, I went to the University of YouTube for a lot of that.
Fantastic. And what was your learning curve like when you were just starting out? Like, what kind of a
Steep. Yeah, I mean, I thought I was capable of learning visual stuff years ago, but it's always a headache. I mean, I consider myself into tech. Obviously I work with music software all day, but my God, it's such a headache. Like, I'm literally square-eyed every day from learning. But I mean, that's the thing. I'm always in these Twitter spaces with, taking notes, learning a lot from people. And yeah, as I said, like, literally go to YouTube and you'll find absolutely everything that you need, much more beneficial than going to college for it.
Fantastic. Well, all your hard work shows, man. It's
Thank
amazing
you.
work
I'm
that you're
glad you
putting.
like it. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
4LC, you're up.
Yeah, thank you. He dropped a couple of big names that I heard earlier, Dead Mouse and Blau, and I didn't. Not only did I heard about those names in the NFT crypto space, but in regular spaces as well. I'm talking things like NPR news is when I heard about Dead Mouse and so forth. Um, and I can see you reaching that level if you have not reached that level yet. This is the first time I've been introduced to you, so I'm very happy to get to know you, and I'm really enjoying the interview. Just have an overall general question. How nervous should the legacy music industry and the Spotify be for in terms of what this technology represents?
Yeah, great question. Actually, I honestly feel that they should be very nervous because they've had such a run of taking, 70 to 80%. For whatever reasons, musicians have got undervalued again and again and again. And that's a really good point, actually, that it's changing so fast. I feel like it's what happened with streaming all over again when people went from CD sales to streaming and the record companies never saw it coming. There was a couple of people who kind of pioneered that technology, especially in underground music, and took it to another place before the record labels knew what was happening. So yeah, absolutely, they should be nervous.
Yeah,
And
thank
thanks,
you,
by the
Jay.
way, I
Yeah,
appreciate it. Yeah,
yeah, thanks, and I look forward to engaging more in what you're doing in this space.
thanks, great.
Anybody else got anything? Did I miss anything that you want to talk about before we wrap up?
Um, Actually, no. No, I think we covered pretty much everything I wanted to say there. Let me just look here. I had a couple of notes. Yeah, I mean, I think we went over a lot there. Yeah, I
Tried to
think,
go. I tried to go as rapid fire as possible.
yeah, we covered a lot of ground.
All right, so we got new singles coming out on Mousetrap, right? Waiting for you.
Yeah, that one just came out. And also a remix of the Bloom Twins and Giant Blomquist is out. We're going to be officially launching the wearable stuff that I think you pinned it there at the top.
I couldn't find it in your Twitter, and I can't pin it unless you have
No
it.
worries. No worries. I don't know how to do that. So yeah, anyway, I'll post it. It's in the link actually on my bio. So yeah, we're gonna officially launch that stuff. Yeah, and then I have a bunch of shows coming up. Hopefully I'll see people around the States actually, yeah.
Where at you doing? West Coast or East Coast or all over?
I'm gonna be on the West Coast for the first bit of the year. I think I might get out to Hawaii as well, which is great. I haven't played out there in a while.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so check out Cian's his Rarible page. You can get that right through his link on his Twitter. His new single just came out called "Waiting for You." That's going to be on Mousetrap. He's doing a new project right now called Third Culture. Check out Octopus Recordings. If you get a chance to see him live, feel free to go out and say what's up. And I don't know if there's anything else that I missed, but if there is, I'll be sure to refer people over to you.
Great, thank you. I really appreciate you guys having me on. Happy New Year to everyone too.
I always love it when I have musicians in here because I could kind of relate with them a little bit better since I'm a really shitty artist.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Great. All right, cool.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate you coming out and talking to the community. And we're always doing these, so if you ever want to just stop on by and pop in, feel free to.
I definitely will. Yeah, thanks again.
All right, thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Cheers, everyone. See ya.
Good night, man.